I completed my Eagle Scout project 2 years ago, and in this video I'm going to take a look back at it and connect it to the Citizenship and the Community Merit Badge. This video is going to be a first of its kind on my channel for this series I'm calling Merit Badge Debrief, so without further ado, let's roll the intro. There are 139 Scouting America Merit Badges, and it is my mission to complete all of them and bring you along for the journey. In this series, I will experience the unique world behind all of the badges and showcase the skills one needs. My name is Chris Fabiano, and this is Merit Badge Debrief. So I managed to dig up my binder here. I mean, it sits right over there usually, and there is a lot to cover in here. So I'm actually going to go through all of this and show you the insides of here up close. So this is my Eagle Scout Service Project workbook. So every scout is going to get this packet. It's just online, you can download it. And yeah, let's look through mine. So I put mine together nice and neat because I wanted to keep it here. I'm actually gonna move my keyboard, just put it on the floor for now. I have to stop this on my computer, I accidentally pressed space. But yeah, so here's the start. It says my name, cemetery architectural improvement was what my project was. This is basically just general information here. I'm gonna cover the scouting service project eventually. So there are three parts: the proposal, the plan, and the report. So this first page here literally shows all the info for every single person that I have, so we're gonna flip past that. So we have the description and the benefit of my project. You can pause the video if you want to look. There is the tell me how the project is going to help. So I talk about Cedar Grove Cemetery was established in 1880. When do you want your project to start and end? How many scouts do you need? Everything like that. A lot of general info. Talks about tools, needs, permits, permissions, cost estimate here, how you're going to fundraise. You have the project phases. Always a big part. Logistics, always big. Here we have safety issues, and then this is just my project getting signed. So there's Nate Freeman and Tony Rue, Sean Campbell, who's my friend's dad, and then the scout thing. And then there's, my signature. My signature used to look so bad. It's so much better now. And that's when I did it. So that was March 7th, 2023. It feels like so recent, but it's been 2 years. It's kind of crazy. Here is some designs. So this is the design for the stand. We ended up ditching the legs just because we don't really need them. This is the design for the flower bench here. Looks really cool. I printed out this model design for a bench. I actually ended up just buying a metal bench online just because it was easier. And then I have some proposal images. So this was all submitted with the proposal. I made a copy of it to put in the binder. There's basically what the area looked like. We have all of these images I'm going to overlay too, but basically just general images. This is now the plan. I guess it doesn't show me any of personal information. This is the phases. So first phase, raise at least $400, promote events, buy materials, cutting wood, clearing site, build structure, dig holes, plant flowers, put landscaping, and then clean. So every project is going to have different amount of phases. You can have 10, less than 10, however many you need. I just fit it all into 10. Same thing. A lot of this is kind of the same, just kind of like, what do you need? But this is a lot more specific. You got to write down everything you're planning to buy, where you're buying it from, how much it's going to cost, everything like that. This is same type of deal. How much money is it going to cost? And then, yeah, so the plan, again, you don't technically need to do it, but you should do it because it's just important. This is my general sketches. So this is designed for the flower bed here, and then this is the design for the bench. We didn't use that design at all. Same thing with the new sign. We didn't do the extra legs. We basically just did that. And then yeah, this is the thing for the work days, and I have a bunch of them. And then this is my agreed upon project, because you got to get it agreed with your rep. So that's Nate Freeman. And then yeah, and then this is the final report. You can see report on April. I guess the other one was March. I guess I just don't know my months well. of 2023. So, while back, that's for sure. Description, observations, changes. The changes is going to be an important thing. Basically, when you do your Eagle Scout project report, I always tell our Eagle Scouts in our troop that, like, when I'm at their projects, if something goes bad, it's actually good. You know what I mean? Just because you are able to write, hey, whoa, my computer went off. Like, what changes did you need to do and everything like that? And you know, what leadership did you do? And yeah, and then, you know, there's the hours, and then some general stuff. Here is my fundraising. My project was relatively cheap. I had $182 extra, basically just donated it. And yeah, there's the service log, there's the sign-ins and outs, some extra stuff. That's for that. This is for the flower pots here. Really, really cool design. And then these are just a bunch of photos. I have them all downloaded, so I'll probably put more in the video, but always include just a bunch of photos here. Let's see, I think that one is going to be the thumbnail, just because it's a nice photo. And then this is just an extra thing here, basically going through all the merit badges I have and whether they're Eagle required or not. So yeah, let's get back into the screen. So overall, my project book here was very, very helpful, and I'm very glad I did it. And it's also just an amazing thing that I can look back on. But in this video, I'm not necessarily going to talk about how to do your project, how to format your project. That is for a later video. You can take a lot of inspiration from me, feel free to. But this video is going to be for the Citizenship and the Community Merit Badge, and specifically how my Eagle Scout project ties into it. So for me, what I learned is that service towards your community can go a really long distance if you actually put in the effort. So for my Eagle Scout project, I joined the Veterans Bridge Home of Charlotte, North Carolina, and From One to Some, an organization founded by Nate Freeman, to help and continue on their work at the Cedar Grove Memorial Cemetery in North Charlotte. I basically decided that I was going to build some benches, I was going to build some flower pots, and I was going to take care of some of the landscaping. I mean, I showed it all here. And doing all of that really showed me, as someone who's like 17 years old, how easy it is to really just go out there and raise some money and help people in the community. And I mean, it was just spectacular. I actually, I gave a speech at a Memorial Day event just a couple weeks later, back then. And so I'll actually interlay some clips from the speech right here. Here, me and my fellow scouts, we built a reflection area consisting of a bench, some flower beds. We donated pebbles, so for when the UNC Charlotte archaeological team finishes their research from One to Some, and go ahead and lay everything down. We built a new sign because this one's really old, and I heard that the actual like signage needed to be replaced. And we donated around like 200 pounds of concrete for when they can go ahead and put it in the location. And it's been a true honor to work with From One to Some and Mr. Nate Freeman to be able to do my project with something that means just so much, And yeah, that's it. It's been an honor. Thank you. For this badge, there isn't necessarily an amount of hours that you need to provide for community service. It does say things like you should research something in your community and provide solutions that could work, but I believe that we should go farther into exploring the badges, especially when making videos here on YouTube for scouts to watch. So that's why I'm talking about it. And obviously, your Eagle Scout project is something that you would have to do anyways. So you don't have to necessarily do a service-oriented something like I did. You can just build something. But the project inherently has to do with service to your community, so it ties in very, very well to this badge. For this badge, there are also a lot of requirements that basically say, look at this thing in your community, or find X, Y, and Z services. So that's what I'm going to do. So for those who don't know, I am from Charlotte, North Carolina. It says it here on my shirt. And the services in Charlotte are relatively easy to find. For me, I live on a road that has a hospital, a fire station, and a police station, all on the same road. So I don't really need to try that hard to find them. They're all right next to me. But I will hop on Google Maps or Google Earth and show you the Charlotte Town Hall, because a lot of towns, like probably your local town if you're watching this, is going to have a town hall where your community leaders actually go in and vote, and those decisions affect your life so much, especially compared to like state and national politics. You don't think about local politics as much, but your local elected officials do so much for your life, and you just don't even think about it. Okay, so here we have Google Earth, a view of North Carolina. And so here is the city of Charlotte. So I live down here in the Ballantyne region. There's a lot of regions in Charlotte. You can see there's South Park, Quail Hollow. Here's South End. This is North Lake. You got Noda, Wildwoods, Mint Hill, Matthews. Mint Hill's its own city. So is these areas down here like Weddington and Marvin and Waxhaw. Here's Carowinds. So as far as our local city government goes, this is our uptown. It's called Uptown in Charlotte versus downtown in every other city because we're cool, and that's why we call it Uptown. Took me a second to find it, but the government building is going to be right here for the city of Charlotte. This is the building, and right down the street here is the Mecklenburg County government buildings. So they're all kind of right next to each other. And when we turn this into Google Earth here, we can see this is the city government building. So basically, our city government's right here, and this is obviously right in Uptown. And if you want to talk about parks or anything like that, there's this amazing park right here. It's called Marshall Park. There's actually a photo here that it's my background on my computer because it's such a cool photo. But yeah, and also, you know, I talk about Carowinds a lot in this video just for some reasons, but if you really want to look at Carowinds, that's what it looks like on 3D view. So yeah. Another one of the requirements for this badge tells you to develop a public presentation of a lot of local things in your community. So for those that are interested, in Charlotte, North Carolina, we have a lot of local things, from theme parks like Carowinds to big buildings to shopping centers, some public transportation. And I really love Charlotte, so I made a YouTube video talking about it. Here's the thumbnail. I'll have it linked on a card through this video for those who want to check it out. And that is basically my form of public presentation. So obviously I didn't do that for my merit badge. I earned my merit badge probably like 4 or 5 years ago. But for what you would want to do as a scout is you go ahead and take some, just impactful things in your community. You put them into a quick, easy presentation, get some images in there. This is one of the easiest things to do. Just whatever things that you know that you usually go to. I mean, just think of it off the top of your head. It's really not that hard. And a lot of this badge is like this, where it's just kind of like, if you just live in your community like a good citizen, then it's going to be an easy badge to get. Now, I already talked about how your Eagle project can be used to make your community better, but the first requirement of this merit badge talks a lot about what everyone in the community should do. And so I actually had the great honor of talking to the mayor of Boone, North Carolina, which is where I go to college at App State, and I asked him pretty much the same type of question here. Later this summer, I'm making a video about the Citizenship in the Community Merit Badge. Mm-hmm. What do you as mayor believe people can do to drive quick, impactful change in their communities?
Well, the first thing is participate. What I mean by that is at least in the election cycles, look into who the people are that want to represent you and vote responsibly. If we can at least do that, I think that would be very helpful for everyone involved. Obviously, the more participation you get, the more people you get involved, the more interests you share, and the more interests that are represented. So I mean, it's we'll have a more well-rounded society, I feel like, and we'll still have the same look. Even if you so for example, the council is all Democrats. We're all pretty progressive-leaning Democrats, right? So, but that doesn't mean that we agree on everything. We don't. We run into a lot of contentious issues, but and so you would still have that, right? But I feel like I wouldn't mind having a more conservative mind. minded people on the council.
Yeah.
Or I'm not disparaging my council at all, of course, but I mean, I'm saying it would just be it would be enlightening to have those perspectives as well. So full participation. I think that's something all political science would want us to aspire to.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny I'm framing it this way, but at the same time, I mean, I think that's, and a lot of people just say pay attention, right?
Yeah.
Well, but what does that mean? So read the paper. People pay attention all the time.
There's also this like whole aspect, specifically in terms of scouting, where we obviously want to encourage people to do good with community service. It's very, very like simple. Just saying, go do some community service. But from what I've seen, like it does a large impact. We have annual events in Charlotte. You might have something similar here called Scouting for Food, where we like get like millions of pounds of like non-perishable food, and we donate it all and everything like that. So I know it's a simple answer to say just do community service, but is there any like large like groups that like do movement for community service? I know Samaritan's Purse, especially during Hurricane Helene, did a lot of service. Is that like continuous? Or?
Absolutely, yeah. Organizations. Well, yeah, and yes, joining an organization, of course, is a great way to do it. I mean, so we have everything from Lions Club to Rotary to organizations like Quiet Givers is a local organization here. That do exactly what it sounds like. They say who needs this the most, and then they give as much as they can and encourage other people to. Blue Ridge Women in Agriculture, Children's Council. There's and other ways for people to join. There are other organizations that people can join that are civic minded, and so that, of course, the numbers that we can get. If we can get numbers higher there, that's of course that many people are working towards a goal. But that also affects government, right?
Yeah.
Because there are certain nonprofits that are community-based organizations, and those are the ones that we focus on. But we do what's called non-governmental allocation of certain percentage of the budget. What is left that we can spend outside.
So it's kind of like a donation
to outside agencies. Well, we see it as a grant. Folks apply, and if they meet all the requirements under the application, and then we see that is an organization that is doing good on behalf of the common good of the community, then we allocate funding to them. So and so I think you can see interconnectivity of all these things. That's one thing that I've always seen as so important, I think, for a community to understand is the interconnectivity.
Now, one of the most important things for an adult is to really just be involved in the community, even when it's not part of your job. And so for talking to the mayor, I mean, it's obviously part of his job to, know the community, but to just be part of it is another important thing. And we also, me and my friend Matt, we talked to the mayor and town manager of Cape Charles, Virginia for another completely separate project. But because I knew I was making this video, I also asked them the same type of question, is how are you guys involved in your community? Because you're the mayor and you're the town manager and it's part of your job. But to actually go out there and be in the community is a hard thing to do. And I basically just asked them, how do you do it?
What I do to try to decompress and things like that is walk. I love walking to my community. I love listening and talking to people. So I'm kind of doing both when I'm out. I'm connected, or I try to go to the breweries and get to know people, to have a social life as well, and try to wear that hat really well of hey, when I'm off of the job, I need a social life. Yeah. And I don't want to hear all the concerns because they're endless. But I think, having a social life is really important. And this community is really good at that. There's lots of opportunities all the time to connect, whether you're just going down where the yacht club is, where they're always hanging out doing stuff, to the park at Central Park, where there's always guys meeting and there's concerts and things. And it's just fun. It's fun living here.
And everybody kind of, like Rick was saying, they know when I'm out and being out. I mean, if they have something to say, they'll say it. But for the most part, and they always preface it by, look, I'm just going to say this right now and then leave you to, go back to dinner or do whatever you're doing. So.
And we're both extroverts.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's easy for us to kind of involve and stay involved with the community. And we're friends with lots of people out here.
So that was the mayor and town manager of Cape Charles, Virginia. I also asked Mayor Tim Futrelle of Boone, North Carolina, the exact same thing. I don't know why I say Mayor Tim Futrelle of Boone, North Carolina every time. I think I just have that little phrase stuck in my head. But yeah, I asked him pretty much the same type of question about his work-life balance. So here's that. So the first question here is, how would you describe the work-life balance of being a mayor? I know I think I've seen that you did a lot of stuff, especially in response to the hurricane, that wasn't necessarily as mayor, was with charitable organizations and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot. It is. It's a lot, and I do all this fully knowing what I'm taking on. Right?
Yeah.
No, but I am the manager. I'm the store manager for the Watauga Habitat for Humanity Restore here in just right outside of Boone. I have 3 daughters, and I've been married for almost 25 years, and I'm the mayor. So
that's full rounded right there.
Among all those things, yes, it's a very full schedule, and it's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love.
So this last section of the video is something that I want to make sure I always do. I'm going to call it the requirement recap, because a lot of these videos, I don't just want to sit here and talk plainly about the merit badge. I want to make them entertaining. I want to make it sort of like a series or a show or anything like that. Some of the merit badges I can definitely have a lot of fun with. I mean, obviously, the first one that comes to mind is snow sports. I can have a lot of fun with snow sports. But I do want to make sure I cover everything in the video. So I'm calling this section requirement recap, because I'm going to recap the requirements, and I'll put the text on screen and we'll just go bit by bit. And I put it at the end of the video because basically if you're not a scout and you're just here to watch the other part, you can go ahead and click away. And if you are a scout and you're interested in getting the badge, just watch these. If you think you can do the requirements, then go talk to your scoutmaster and go get that badge. Requirement 1. Discuss with your counselor what citizenship in the community means and what it takes to be a good citizen in your community. Discuss the rights, duties, and obligations of citizenship and explain how you can demonstrate good citizenship in your community, scouting unit, place of worship, or school. Now this one I definitely talked about, obviously with my Eagle Scout project and the mayor interviews. It's very important for people to be involved in the community, and obviously that takes forms in a lot of ways. It's not just service, it's politics and everything else, but yeah. 2. Do the following. A. Use an electronic mapping tool or paper map. Locate and pinpoint the following services and landmarks in your community. Determine and record the distances from your home, including driving time and either walking or biking time. Chief government buildings such as your city hall, county courthouse, and public works and services facilities. Fire station, police station, or hospital nearest to your home. Parks, playgrounds, recreational areas, and trails, historical or other points of interest. So I obviously talked about some of this. I'm not going to talk about everything because it's really just kind of to each their own in their communities. For Charlotte, there's a lot of interesting things. I mentioned how the fire, police, and hospital are all on my home road. I mentioned the Google Earth and Google Maps images of the town hall, or city hall, I guess. And I mean, as far as parks, there's parks all around. I'm actually very grateful that Charlotte, still being a big city, has a lot of public parks and greenways. It's great. So yeah. B. Chart the organization of your local or state government. Show the top offices and tell whether they are elected or appointed. So I actually didn't do this yet, but I'll explain it real quick. So Charlotte, North Carolina obviously has a elected city council. They have an elected mayor. So the city council has 7 districts. They are split up all throughout Charlotte, and then I believe there are 2 at-large seats that are basically, they are sitting council members, but they are elected by all of the voters in Charlotte. And then Charlotte has a mayor, but the mayor is a non-voting founding member of the council. They lead the council in their meetings, and then if there is a tie, the mayor can vote, but the mayor can also bring forth issues. And the mayor is sort of like a spokesperson of the city, and it's that way with a lot of cities. Charlotte is nothing that unique. And then besides Charlotte, we have Mecklenburg County, which, because Charlotte is such a large city, a lot of the services and everything are co-unanimous. So you have the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, you have Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. A lot of things are shared between the city and the county. And then obviously you have the state of North Carolina. You have, all of the offices, the Attorney General Jeff Jackson, who was from Charlotte. You have Governor Josh Stein. You have Lieutenant Governor Rachel Hunt. I think it's Rachel Hunt. And then besides that, it's obviously just, state and then federal. 3, do the following. A, attend an in-person meeting of your city, town, or county council, or school board, local court session, or another state or local governmental meeting approved in advance by your counselor. So I didn't actually do this in the video, but I did speak to 2 mayors and a town manager, which, pretty much counts. I did interviews with them, and if you want to look at those interviews, they're in full on another one of my channels. I'll have it linked down in the description. But yeah, and attending that is, also just unique to your community. B, choose one of the issues discussed at the meeting where a difference of opinion was expressed, and explain to your counselor why you agree with one opinion more than you do another one. I also didn't do this one necessarily. For me and the mayors I interviewed, there wasn't any big disagreements or really any disagreements at all. And a lot of the interview was just kind of trying to see what they're talking about. But, for sure, there's always going to be local disagreements. I definitely disagree with a lot of the way that the city of Charlotte is doing things, especially with education and public transportation. So there's always going to be disagreements between people. You just got to bring something up. 4, choose an issue that is important to the citizens of your community, then do the following. A, find out which branch of local government is responsible for this issue. So my issue, I can just use my Eagle project here. Again, I didn't necessarily do the same things, but when you do the type up for the Eagle project, you have to talk about this type of stuff. So mine has to deal with the cemetery and the zoning around the cemetery. So obviously zoning and everything like that in terms of the cemetery is a city government issue, but it can also be kind of a state government issue because the state can protect a cemetery and designate it as like a state historical site, but that's more of an action the state does do rather than an action that the state wouldn't do, like faulting them. B, with your counselors and a parent or guardian's approval, interview one person from the branch of government you identified in requirement 4A. Ask what is being done about this issue and how young people can help. Now again, I didn't necessarily do this. I did interview those 2 mayors, which was nice, and I did talk about other issues. One of the big issues I talked about with Mayor Tim Futrelle was housing. I will absolutely make a video on the housing situation in Boone later this fall or spring or really whenever. I got 2 more years there. That's a big issue. So yeah, we talked about that a lot. C, share what you have learned with your counselor. Again, I didn't do this, but that's just a formality for the requirement. 5, with the approval of your counselor and a parent or guardian, watch a movie that shows how the actions of one individual or group of individuals can have a positive effect on the community. Discuss with your counselor what you learned from the movie about what it means to be a valuable and concerned member of the community. I did not do this at all. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even know this was a requirement. I don't know why it's a requirement. If you really want to talk about it, my Eagle Scout project is something like that. It basically had the length of a movie, or longer. This project took like 20 hours to do, so yeah. 6, list some services such as the library, recreation center, public transportation, and public safety your community provides that are funded by taxpayers. Tell your counselor why these services are important to your community. Now I did this sort of. I talked about the YouTube video I made with Charlotte, and I obviously talked about, the police station, fire station, and hospital that are near me. I kind of mentioned the public transportation in Charlotte and how I disagree with the community. I think we need to be doing a lot more as a city. But yeah, and again, this is all very specific to each community, so I don't necessarily need to explain it because I don't really know what your community has. 7. Do the following. A. Identify 3 charitable organizations outside of scouting that interest you and bring people in your community together to work for the good of your community. Now, I actually did this. It was very subtle. I talked about my Eagle Scout project, how I worked with the Veterans Bridge Home of Charlotte, which is a veterans organization that helps veterans, obviously, it's in the name. They're a very, very helpful organization. My dad is a veteran. I also worked with From One to Some, which is an organization that was started by Nate Freeman, who I met to help do my Eagle Scout project. And then besides that, there are a bunch of organizations in Charlotte and in North Carolina. The mayor of Boone mentioned Samaritan's Purse and Habitat for Humanity, which helped Boone rebuild after Hurricane Helene. These organizations are very important, and you definitely have organizations in your community that do a lot of good work as well. B. Pick one of the organizations you choose for requirement 7A, using a variety of resources, including newspapers, flyers, and other literature, the internet, volunteers, and employees of the organization. Find out more about this organization. So I have done this, not necessarily in this video. Obviously, with the Veterans Bridge Home, I've known them for a long time. I very much support their organization. I want to continue supporting their organization. Same thing with From One to Some. Their I guess like owner or president, or like, I don't really know what he is to the organization, Mr. Nate, but I did meet with him a lot for my Eagle Scout project, and I learned a lot about both of the organizations, what they do for our community here in Charlotte. C. With your counselors and your parent or guardian's approval, contact the organization you choose for requirement 7B and find out what young people can do to help. While working on this merit badge, volunteer at least 8 hours of your time for this organization. After your volunteer experience is over, discuss what you have learned with your counselor. So I guess there is actually like volunteer time. I said that there wasn't necessarily any time, but obviously it's still important. My volunteer time obviously coincided with my Eagle Scout project. I also volunteered at other times, and we also have church organizations here in Charlotte that my family had volunteered for, especially like before COVID a lot. And then the last requirement here is 8. Develop a public presentation such as a video, slideshow, speech, digital presentation, or photo exhibit about important and unique aspects of your community. Include information about the history, cultures, and ethnic groups of your community, its best features and popular places where people gather, and the challenges it faces. Stage your presentation in front of your counselor or a group, such as your patrol or a class at school. Now, obviously, I talked about this. I made that video about Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm glad to talk about our city a lot. Obviously, I didn't necessarily talk about people or ethnic groups. I mean, a lot of ethnic groups here. We're in the United States of America. I love it, multiculturalism and everything like that. Best features, obviously, Carowinds, the Panthers, Bryce Young. Look, man, the Panthers are going to win the Super Bowl, okay? Maybe not this year, but we eventually will. And yeah, that's that. And that's also all the requirements for this merit badge. So again, if you saw those requirements and you felt good about it, go try to get this merit badge. It's Eagle required, so you might as well do it. So that was the merit badge debrief for the Citizenship and the Community merit badge. This was the second merit badge debrief I have done. The first one was a very, very confusing video. Well, I guess it wasn't confusing at all, but it was for the fingerprinting merit badge, and I decided to start with it because it's fingerprinting, and I just kind of sat there and talked to the camera. Like I looked at my camera and read a script, and so it has all the information you need, but there's no personality. I'll remake that video eventually for sure. But yeah, this was the new form of merit badge debrief that I'm doing. As far as I've seen, there's nothing like this. That's why I want to make this series. I want to make this series as best as I can. I don't care if these videos end up being like 30 minutes long. I want them to be very good. I want people to be able to watch these videos, and yes, for scouts to watch these videos and learn a lot, but for people just in general to be able to learn unique things, because some of these merit badges are insanely unique. We have pulp and paper, mining and society, snow sports, which I'm insanely excited to do, kayaking, fishing, motorboating, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. It was a very fun video to do. It's been basically a year since I've made any videos talking about any scouting topics, even though it is in the name of my channel. So yeah, thank you for watching. This has been Merit Badge Debrief, and as always, I hope you have a great day.